And we are back, heading into our first qualifying match of the second half of the open stage. It's going to be happening here on Bracket D. It's going to be finally a TVZ on our hands. And we're going to be loading in and kicking it off on El Kione. We're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming out from Atlanta, Korea, representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion from the land of Canada. It is Scarlett.
The one Shopify player who was able to avoid Bracket C. Everyone else just thrown together.
Yeah.
Forced a team kill.
Lambert, Harston,
Free
Beyond.
from that for the time being.
Yeah, all the others are all trapped in the same group. Scarlett has broken free, and Scarlett already popping off. We mentioned it briefly before, but Scarlett bringing Nightmare down 2-1 is a very impressive result already. And I'll be honest, I would have favored Nightmare there. Here against Bunny, I'm actually liking Scarlett's chances.
Yeah, as am I. Bunny, I think, has demonstrated a lot of aggression, a lot of aggressive plays so far tonight, and I feel like that's the style of ZvT that Scarlett has kind of been honed under. Scarlett has gotten pretty good at deflecting early timings from Terran players, and has just been able to macro into the late game and just, yeah, really get into a groove and really overwhelm Terran opponents with ultras, with brute lords, with stuff like that. Stuff that Bunny hasn't really displayed a lot of. You know, affinity for countering.
Yeah, we'll see if we can bring it all together here. As for now, we do have our Reaper opener out of a Bunny, just a standard start from our Terran player. But Scarlett back at home, Hatch Gas pull into a third base. Our early game looking pretty stock standard here as we're once again on Akione.
Indeed, it is. I just realized a much simpler way of describing what I was talking about is that Bunny, he's not a late game boy. Prefers to avoid that as much as possible. Scarlett, much more willing to get into that. Loves Hive Tech.
Yeah, whenever I think of like Bunny's TVZ, I think of his series he played against Rainer in GSL a couple of years ago, where he just cheesed the hell out of him.
Yeah, I think about that series. I think about 2022 DreamHack Atlanta, where Buddy played against Cyril and was actually able to take him out specifically by having some of the most potent 1-1 timings available out there.
Oh yeah, like Bunny can be quite crisp in his play, and here we do see a 3cc opener. It's going to be a third CC into a starport, so a much more economic start from Bunny, but just because the opener is more economic doesn't mean we can't be aggressive thereafter. Ooh, as we do pick up a couple of lings, Reaper will be able to get away, and Scarlett is still just settling into her 3-base setup.
Yeah. The game hasn't really, things haven't really heated up just yet. We're not getting into that, spicy mid-game. We're just setting up for it. I'm sure Scarlett is anticipating that, so she should be setting up, playing pretty macro, but also setting up to defend against that. Nice pick off here from Bunny, taking out a tumor.
It does catch a tumor before pivoting away, and we're opening up here Hellion Liberator, not Hellion Banshee, as we don't have the add-on swap going for earlier stim instead. And I'm curious how this all comes together, whether we embrace something more aggressive like an Armory with a Hellbat push, or just, applying pressure with Hellion Lib and transitioning into more drop-heavy play.
Yeah, it's what I expect to see from Bunny. But we might be surprised.
We definitely could be, as we do see Scarlett opening up with double Evo chamber, so cutting some corners, being a little bit greedier here. But against a 3cc opener, this is very much so viable, very much so a solid response by Scarlett. It is going to be delaying Banelings and delaying a lair in favor of upgrades, and Scarlett shouldn't be punished for it, not with an economic build from Bunny.
Yeah, At this point, no.
We're going for the
Bunny
knife.
able to slip past, slip past all of these queens. There aren't that many lings to go for a surround. So Bunny, is primed to get a lot of worker damage, but lings pop up just in time. Will be zoning these Hellions away from the mineral line. A couple of drones will go down, I believe, to the Liberator, but yeah, overall, pretty solid defense here from Scarlett.
Yeah, only 2 drones go down. We clean up every single Hellion. Bunny gets punished. That was 8 Hellions. 8 Hellions going for the dive, and they got almost 0 damage dealt. So a very nice defense here by Scarlett, and suddenly Bunny has lost all map control.
Literally all map control. Hellions went down, Reaper went down, the Liberator as well. All that for only 2 drones and 24 lings. This is the most ideal early game I think Scarlett could have hoped for.
Yeah, now Scarlett can, Scarlett is already known for having insane creep spread, and now the creep spread is going to get even more out of control as creep is spreading throughout the entire map towards the left and right hand side. 4th and 5th base on the way as Scarlett is double expanding. Again, we are free to cut corners, we are free to be greedy, thanks to Bunny's overextension, thanks to Bunny's misstep with his Hellions.
Yeah. He's still working to that eventual timing, which is coming pretty soon. Stim finished up a while ago. We're working on combat shields. He's working on 1-1 behind this as well. Already positioning his Marines in the middle of the map. Gonna eventually meet them, or have them meet with tanks, have them meet with medevacs as well.
Yeah, this is risky considering there are no medevacs, right? So a surround with lings would completely shut this down, but here come the tanks to reinforce, more of a bio army. Medevacs now coming in to reinforce as well, and Scarlett actually setting up a counterattack instead. Creep is slowly receding here, but Scarlett is poised to go in.
Yeah, the wall is not quite a wall yet here for Bunny. This is, once again, going to be a pretty big risk for Scarlett, but it looks like... yeah, it looks like it's about to pay off. Not too many Marines here to really keep these lings at bay. We get a tank. And it looks like we're about to get some, really significant, a little bit of SCV damage. 2 of them go down.
Yeah, thankfully the medevacs were here to heal, so the SCVs were, there was a little bit of sustain there for them, but as you mentioned, we got a tank, we got Marines, we got a handful of workers. Good trade there for Scarlett. We do see the tank sieging up behind this, but here comes Scarlett looking to collapse on top of his tanks.
Yeah, she should be able to take out at least one of them, like so. Once again, trading only lings, so it's minerals for not only a very pretty gas-intensive unit, but a unit that's also, the backbone of the Terran army.
Yeah, we're down to 1 tank. Again, Bunny's still hyper-fixated on clearing up creep. Meanwhile, there's a double drop towards the left-hand side, and looks like we're going to be able to potentially even deny a base. This queen is going to be going down, and there's not much here in position to defend. Bunny has potential here as we go for the hatchery.
Yeah, like you said, not much here to defend. Things are coming down. A little bit of friendly fire with that Widowmine drop, but it looks like Bunny still has enough to keep this going until the Hydras and Banelings reveal themselves.
Yeah, with the arrival of the Ling Bane of the Hydras, it looks like we can force this back. 1 queen goes down, not a bad pickup. But Scarlett is holding. Scarlett droning up on 4, soon to be 5 bases. That is 96 workers for Scarlett. Oh my god, that's a lot of drones.
That's endgame. Yeah.
That's more than
endgame. Scarlett's not gonna have to make any more drones for the rest of this game, even if she throws down structures.
Yeah,
once again, Scarlett's economy has been completely untouched. That hatchery that got low earlier on, it's still alive. Got transfused a little bit earlier on, so yeah, Scarlett can still mine and still providing larva. Scarlett's maxed out.
Yeah, Scarlett has maxed out here. You could argue maybe a bit of a smaller army because of all the drones, true.
Yeah.
But we have plenty of Ling Bane. We have Infestors on the way. They're going to have Fungals available immediately. 1 more Queen goes down. Double drop into the main base. Oh my god, Mind Shot does connect in the mineral line.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, when I say not too bad, it's decent drone damage, but Scarlett still has 87 workers. I think that's actually better for her, as she frees up some supply to get more army.
I would agree. 6 drones go down and we still have 87, so this is still a good account for Scarlett. Behind this, we're just maxing out on Ling and Bane. We still have those Infestors as well, ready for the fungal growth, and Bunny is going for a split push. We have a Force in the center, Force on the left-hand side. Can Scarlett keep up, as we even have that drop into the main?
Yeah. Oh, that was a kill, not a cancel on the gold hatch.
Oh, can we get the other base as well?
Here for But finally, it will fall. And Scarlett is starting to lose a lot of her reinforcement points. She is going for a massive push across the map. Not quite able to take out this planetary, being very conservative with these banelings, but here we go. Finally takes out the planetary.
Yeah, planetary does go down, so we trade a base for a base, essentially here. I mean, to be fair, Bunny did snipe 2 hatcheries, not just 1, so bit of a better trade for Bunny, but is going to be bleeding out these medevacs, so the drop is going to be cleaned up. And meanwhile, across the map, ooh, the Hydras will also be going down.
That they will, so we really get thinned out here.
Oh.
Bunny once again go for a double drop. We do have a cancel this time as opposed to a kill, so not as disastrous here for Scarlett, but still, she is starting to get contained a little bit. Bunny has reached that point in the game where we're still in the mid game technically. I mean, Hive has finished up, but we don't really have Hive tech out in the map just yet. Bunny can still go back and forth with these drops, with these multi-prong harasses, and just continue to try to starve Scarlett out. Ideally,
Yeah,
that's
this
the
is
plan.
this is a very back and forth kind of turn of events here between both Bunny and Scarlett, where we've been bleeding out some bases here and there. I do want to give the edge of it to Bunny, just because these dead hatcheries, it isn't just for the economy, but also for the production as well. So Scarlett does have to take care with how much larva she has available. Is going to try to keep up. Infestors have revealed themselves. They can finally go for those fuggles.
And they're going to try to. We have hit the point where Scarlett has spent her bank, and because she hasn't been able to mine too much from those dead bases, she can't really afford to trade inefficiently. She just doesn't have a bank. She doesn't have that economic position where she can send wave after wave of Lings and Banes, and as long as she kills a handful of bio each time,
Yeah, 2 Infestors are going to be
will
sniped.
eventually be worth it.
Yeah, very nice catch from Bunny. At the same time, Scarlett trying to push through the center of the map here, but it is so brutal. Liberator's finally going to be going down. Big mine shots here on the Ling Bane.
Yeah, big mine shots going to be popping off. Scarlett pushing a little bit too far off of creep. And that will, just allow Bunny to have a really good trade, be able to force these banelings into mine range.
To force Scarlett back, and Scarlett is now reestablishing her economy. Now these bases are up and running, the gold base and the base on the left hand side, so the bank is now building up for Scarlett. Can now pose a greater threat here to Bunny. We even have that Night Storm on the way behind this, I believe. Do we have a Lurker Den? No Lurker Den yet, just still committing to Ling, Bane, Hydra, Infestor. Oh!
Yeah, a bit of an old school Legacy of the Void composition. But one that has been working out for Scarlett so far. She is starting to trade pretty inefficiently though, and once again we're at the point where, okay, Scarlett is maxed out. She's building up a bank, but not as quickly as she normally would like to at Decision Game. The Vipers are isolated once again, then they will be sniped.
Ooh. Yeah, big pickoffs here. Bunny earlier catching Infestors, now catching Vipers as well. These are some pretty expensive losses here for Scarlett, and now is stuck with mainly a brute force army here. Very little finesse, very few spellcasters. Night Swarm into the main base is spotted, is going to be shut down. The main army does threaten to dive as well on Bunny, but does back off, making use of the terrain, making use of the Sim City. It's going to be difficult for Scarlett to really push into this planetary.
You know what? I was worried for Bunny. As this game continued, I was worried that if we got into the late game, that would be Scarlett's area of expertise. That's exactly where she wants to fight. But Bunny has just been doing such a good job of trading, of harassing, that Scarlett has never really, despite all the time that's passed, Scarlett hasn't really been able to get into that stage of the game, hasn't really been able to tech up that hard. I think the highest tech unit she has is Vipers.
Yeah, as the Ling Bane rolls in, some decent connections, but the spread was sold from Bunny, forcing Scarlett back, chasing down what little is left of those Hydras. Scarlett is remaxing with 64 Lings. We have the interesting Greater Spire on the way. Scarlett thinking about Broodlords. The Fungal!
And that's, I think, what I was waiting for from Scarlett, is some high-tech units with that Greater Spire. Huge Fungal, catches a lot of the bio. It's a very brutal positioning. This is a very brutal position to have Liberators. You can see the Hydra count really starting to get thinned out. A lot of Lings, a lot of Banes go down to the planetary, but there's no repair. Somehow the planetary survives, and now we're getting SCVs in position to repair.
Wow, yeah, that was a clutch hold for Bunny. Barely held on. Again, there were just barely any Banelings, mainly Ling, a Hydra for Scarlett. It just was not enough. We saw some brutal snipes going off for the Hydras as well. Again, Scarlett, because of her economy, because of her bases, she can sustain these losses. We have the Rich-Festing Gas Geysers, prioritizing Rich-Festing Gas Geysers towards the north as well. Scarlett is holding on, is remaxing, but hasn't been having the most amazing trades. Like, her economy is carrying her right now. Has to take care when it comes to pushing into these siege lines or into this defensive position. Oh,
those 96 drones from earlier on. Some of them did get taken out, but like you said, it's kind of what's keeping Scarlett afloat right now. It's what's allowing her to continue to send wave after wave of Ling Bane into Bunny's army. Trade inefficiently, but still have enough to remax, and it looks like Scarlett has just found the tipping point, has just about been able to break Bunny.
And there it is. 30 SCVs go down. The goal base as well. We caught a massive fungal. GG gets called, and Scarlett takes game number 1.
Whew, that was a 16-minute game that felt like it went for 60 minutes. In a good way, you know? Just so much jam-packed action, so much back and forth. This is... I think what I love about watching Bunny's games is that he just is super high octane and will just keep coming at you in TVZ as well with multi-prong, but also what I love seeing from Scarlett, to be able to weather that storm long enough into the late game where she is able to just really overwhelm her Terran opponents. Surprisingly, we didn't see that much late game tech coming out from Scarlett. She was eventually going to get there, you know, with a Great Aspire. She was setting up. She did have a hive for very long, but for the most part, she was relying on a mid-game army composition. Hydra Ling Bane, with a little bit of support from Infestors, a little bit of support from Vipers here and there. But for the most part, it was just brute force.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was just brute force in the end there, and we are going to be now getting ready for our next game here. Again, the economy of Scarlett was insane. On Alcyone, again, with 80, 90 even at times plus workers, with the goal base, with the Rich-Festing Gas Geysers. And again, eventually we were able to find that fight, whether it was with Fungals, whether it was catching Bunny out in the open. Bunny, in the end, just could not keep up with Scarlett.
That he could not. But with that, that was game number 1. We're going to get ready for game number 2 on another macro map, I would say, but not quite as defensive or defensible, fortifiable as Alcyone. Get ready for Oceanborn.
Here we go. We are getting ready for Oceanborn as game number 2. Oh boy, and we'll see where this does take us here, as, again, Oceanborn is a little bit less macro-oriented. I mean, I say that. The third base is a little bit more exposed. If Bunny wanted to be more aggressive, this would be a good map for it.
Yeah. It really would. Like you said, bases are a lot more exposed, and that's kind of Bunny's style in TVZ. Just hitting these exposed bases with very potent timings, with a lot of tanks, to the point where, yeah, there's not a whole lot his Zerg opponents can do other than throw Lings at him and hope for the best.
Oh yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how Bunny does respond. We'll see how he does react. Again, Bunny was doing quite well for himself when it came to the early to mid-game drop play, right? We saw the Bio Army able to snipe bases, right? We killed the center goal base. We killed the northern hatchery as well. Like, Bunny was popping off, but it still was not enough. Can he bounce back? Or is it all over here and now?
We'll find out here on Oceanborn. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner map spawning. All the way in the bottom right, we have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Canadian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is Scarlett.
Here we go. Once again, I'm expecting another high-octane game coming out from our players.
Oh yeah, it was a very, very intense game one. And that was only game one. It's still a best of 3, which is crazy, by the way. The fact that this is a qualifying match and not a best of 5. For Nada ESL. But it makes sense. I mean, there are so many games being played here today, and it would take... the broadcast would go even longer than what it is already if we had best of 5s getting involved. That'd be one.
The sun would go down.
Yeah. It would go up and go down. How to explain that?
Can't explain that. Sun, man. The sun things.
That it does, as we are getting into our openers of choice. Really, I feel like my eyes are mainly on Bunny coming into this. If you remember, there was a kind of a big moment where momentum swung away from Bunny when he went for the dive and lost all of his Hellions. I imagine we're going to be taking a bit of a different approach this time and being a little bit more careful with our early game units.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another Hellion Reaper push. Hellion Liberator push coming out from Bunny, but like you said, maybe a little bit more careful, a little bit more conservative about it. You know, not diving into a mineral line and immediately getting wiped out by Lings and Queens.
Yeah, as our Reaper does dip in, gonna be dancing with the army, at least initially. Scarlett will eventually break out to expand, but for now, hoping to keep these Lings alive so far. Good control, but one Ling does go down.
Like so. 2 Lings? No, only 1. So seeing a bit of a dance back and forth once again, yeah.
Just the one for the time being. And here is our opener. This time, if you remember, in game 1, we had a 3cc opener into Liberator production. This is going to be a straight-up 1-1-1, already a much more aggressive build from Bunny.
Yeah, not quite what I was expecting after how the initial Reaper Liberator push in Game 1 went, but I guess this does make more sense. Oceanborn, a lot less defensible, there are a lot more access points to dive into a mineral line.
And that is Marauder production, not an add-on swap into Banshees, so we are going for what looks to be a Marauder Hellbat push.
Yeah, we're just waiting for concussive shells. We've seen a little bit of a resurgence of this fairly recently. It's a build that we see thrown in once in a while in a best of TVZ series. Of course, the idea with this is to just try to keep on pushing with your Hellbats, get Hellbats in to deal with Lings, get Marauders with concussive shells, there we go, it's on the way, to try to slow down the Queens and kind of drag them into the inferno of Hellbats.
Yes, as we did mention, again, it is a Hellbat Marauder. Medevacs are in production as well. They, of course, can help heal both the Marauders and the Hellbats. Not just heal them, but also juggle them as well to avoid shots, to avoid surrounds. Overlord does go down, and Scarlett has yet to piece this together. Scarlett actually amassing up quite a number of Lings here, setting up a surround, and can we potentially catch some of these Hellions before they can morph into Hellbats?
Well, we'll see. Scarlett fighting aggression with aggression. But like you said, hasn't quite been able to piece this together. Isn't quite in position to deal with this. Has a potential surround setup. But Armory finishes up, and you don't want to surround Hellbats.
Yeah, the Roach Warren's on the way. It's halfway done. Spineclaw is being thrown down in a panic, but Scarlett caught off guard here. We're pushing right into that natural waste. We get eyes on the Roach Warren. We're going for the kill. We're going for the Queens.
Going for the Queens, going for the Roach Warren. Lings are across the map, gonna try to go for a bit of a base race.
Yeah, Lings, they get into the main. That should not have happened. Workers are going down, but at the same time, Lings, they do nothing against these Hellbats.
Yeah, she needs roaches. Roach Warren will go down. 6 roaches are on the way. They were able to get produced before the Warren went down, but I'm not sure if 6 is gonna be enough. We still have Marauders in the back line.
Yeah, the queens, they get hunted down. All 3 queens will fall. We have spine crawlers on the way. We have 1 spine crawler on low ground. We have lings and roaches amassing back across the map. We have lost every single worker. We're down to 4 SCVs.
This is an intense base race. I mean, Bunny should still win this, right? He has a better army and he can lift his buildings, but there's a chance for Scarlett if she potentially fights with the spine crawler?
Yeah, I think Scarlett can hold this. I mean, we have a handful of roaches and lings. We can help pull the boys. Well, spine crawler is going to be focused on the marauders. They do so much damage to the spine.
That they do. Hellbats are starting to thin out a little bit, but we still have those marauders, and that is going to be very tricky to deal with. Liberator rocks up, and there's no anti-air.
There is no anti-air. Again, Scarlett did pick away so many of these Hellbats as she was able to trade outside of range of those Marauders. But now we're going for the mineral line. Drones are going down. Spinecrawler trying to reposition. Drones are falling left and right, and Scarlett does have to evacuate.
She doesn't quite have enough to rebuild a hatchery elsewhere. Oh, but she has a third. She can still mine.
Yeah, it's fully saturated third base. Still mining, still making more lings. Oh, Spinecrawler is going to be caught out. But again, that's why Bunny has a limited amount of units. This is all that Bunny has left, and Scarlett can still produce.
Oh, indeed she can. Bunny is all in. Has been all in for a while. Hellbats are starting to get thinned out, and there are only 2 remaining. There's only 1 remaining. Marauders, you know, they're great against roaches, not so much against lings.
Yeah, lings, they move out across the map once again, getting whatever is left over. Looks like the natural base has fallen, but Scarlett is still down to 1 mining base. Roach Warren is still up and running. 6 more roaches on the way, and we're running out of steam. Bunny, he's down to 3 marauders. Barely an army.
Barely an army at all. But still a somewhat potent army. Medevac in the back line, not quite in position to deal with this. Marauders went down.
Marauders went down. We did save 2 Marauders. They are left over, but we're running out of energy, running out of steam. Scarlett coming back to mine. And without Hellbats, these drones, they can deal with the Marauders.
They can deal with the Marauders. They can't quite deal with the Libs, but that's what the Ravagers are for.
Yeah.
Marauders go down. Liberator in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
but he has somehow been able to muster up a couple more units.
Yeah, well, look at this. With mining minerals, we have Marines and Hellions. And even a couple of Marauders as well, so we are not done. We are building up for a second wave. It doesn't look like much, but in this kind of game state here, Bunny still has a chance.
Yeah. Let's see how well he can juggle these units, how well he can dodge the vials.
I mean, so far the juggling has been solid. The Ravagers and Roaches are going down one after the other. There's 3 Ravagers left and they're being hunted down. We're down to 2 Ravagers.
Concussive Shell being the absolute MVP here for Bunny. Really preventing these Ravagers, these Roaches from kiting as effectively as Scarlett would like to.
Yeah,
Cyclones are out.
Yeah, with the arrival of these Cyclones, it looks like Bunny has too much. GG gets called and Bunny will tie up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match.
I'm speechless as to what we've just witnessed here. That felt like it went down to the wire, and it did, but it was also very low-tech early game units that we saw duking it out. Bunny looked like he had it in the bag, but then Scarlett was able to sneak lings into his main and into his natural, completely wipe out his mineral lines, and then it looked like Scarlett just had to hold and defend, and then she would have taken it, but somehow Bunny was able to rebuild. Bunny was able to muster up another force behind his initial push. And when we really went down to the wire, when we really went down to, I think it was 10 SCVs versus 20 drones, the SCVs, or the Terran economy, was able to pull ahead a little bit better. GG. We're going into our ace match. I'm delighted of what we've been able to witness so far. This is the first TVZ that we've been able to cast, and potentially the only TVZ we're going to cast. And it's been an absolute delight.
It's been beautiful. We've been getting some longer macro games in game 1. We saw some more chaotic aggression in game number 2. And now we're settling into game number 3 on Site Delta. Where will our players take us? How will this story end?
Well, wherever they're taking us, I'm ready to go. I'm gearing up. I'm excited to see where we go here on Site Delta, where we're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spotting all the way in the top left. We have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He's going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Bunny.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. Ooh, being forced into the ace match. Can we bring it back? It is Scarlett.
That was... I feel like the action has not let up. There's never been a single lull in this series. Game number 1 took a little while to get into our groove for both Bunny and Scarlett, but once we got there, we never stopped. Game number 2 was explosive right from the start, and it kept going.
Oh yeah, just kept on going, and oh boy, I mean, it all comes down to side Delta here. Once again, my eyes are going to be on Bunny. I do not expect to see quite an aggressive build this time. We've spoken about this before, but side Delta is a little bit more defendable, especially on 2 bases, so I don't expect like a Hellbat push or anything like that on this map, but definitely looking to see what Bunny brings to the table here in Game 3.
Yeah, as am I. And I guess in general, TBZ is a matchup where we would be looking at the Terran player. It is usually on the Terran to be a bit more active and more the Zerg player to react to what's being thrown their way. But especially in this matchup, that's definitely been the case.
Really,
Bunny's been the one to play that traditional role.
Yeah, that's kind of been the dynamic so far in this series, and we'll see if that continues to be the case. Other players like, Shin or Dark that are willing to throw down early Roach Warrens and be the aggressor themselves, but we haven't really seen that from Scarlett, not yet in this series. I mean, sure, we had like a big link counterattack setup in that last game, but at the same time, that was also due to the more aggressive nature of Bunny's game as well, so... And we'll see how this all settles in. For now, we do have our factory follow-up here, and we'll see if we go for another starport or a third CC.
Yeah. Are we playing economic? Yeah, somehow I doubt it from Bunny. On Site Delta, anyway. We saw that 3CC before starport in Alcyone, but Alcyone is also a map that's a little bit more difficult to attack into your opponent. So here we go, 1-1-1.
There it is, as you mentioned, 1-1-1, but Lings, they do slip in. This should not have happened. They get into the main base. We got a free scout as well, and Scarlett confirms the 1-1-1.
Yeah, she's well aware that Bunny isn't going to be too greedy, is looking to be aggressive, so yeah, now the pressure's on Scarlett to muster up a defense.
Oh yeah,
She herself has gotten her 3rd hatch.
And how do we bring this all together? I mean, it's hatch gas spoilers. You mentioned the standard opener out of Scarlett, going for the add-on swap here. No tech lab on the racks as we use it to lift. Are we going to go for... I was going to say mech. This is a variation of it. We're going into BC.
Here we go. Alrighty then.
Into mech, because this Rax is not landing. It's there. Oh boy.
It's never gonna. It thinks it's an overlord.
Does.
It streams.
Yeah, and you
Fly
know
on,
what?
Barracks.
That is a 2nd starport. It's 2-port BC.
Yep. Just waiting for, there we go, Tech Lab to finish up on the 1st starport. Tech Lab on the way on the other one. Fusion Core about to finish up, and we're banking resources for BCs.
Yeah, I think the last person I saw do this was Gumiho. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've seen 2-port BC of all builds, and this... I've seen many a Zerg player smudge to this.
You've experienced a smudge yourself.
Oh yeah. There was a time like a year ago where this build was a little more prominent. A year, maybe 2 years ago, back in like the Cosmic Sapphire era, but even in the Grespun era a little bit as well. But there it is. We're making 2 BCs at a time. If Scarlett doesn't confirm this, then we could see a very, very abrupt end to this game.
Yeah, this series as well, as we're in the ace match. Be unfortunate. We are in the upper bracket of our group. Yeah, we are in the upper bracket, so obviously It's not going to be the end just yet for the player who dips down. We're not in an elimination match yet, but yeah, will be a bit of an anticlimactic end to just how back and forth this series has played so far.
Yeah, so we do have a safety Roach one here for Scarlett. We do have a lair as well. A decent amount of queens are set up. We have 6 queens, soon to be 7 queens in total. But 2 BCs with the Yamato can wreak havoc. They can go ham, and okay, we have a second Rax on the way. It's going to be 2-port BC into Bio, not into Mech. Bear that in mind as we're setting up for that Bio transition. And this initial BC push won't have Yamato. Not yet, as we dive into the main.
Yeah, immediate dive, so very committed here from Bunny. Not going to be able to dip immediately out. He does have to rely a little bit more on utilizing the dead space and not getting his BCs into compromising positions.
Yeah, Overlords are going down one after the other. We got 1 Queen, we got 1 Spore as well. Unfortunately, no transfuse. Another Overlord does fall. And we're not going to get too much more done. I mean, I say that we're headed towards that 3rd base and there is no Spore in position. Uh-oh.
No Spore, no Queen. All of them were pulled back into the main. Oh, a little bit of a miss rally here coming out from Scarlett. Will take a lot more damage than necessary. Spire will fall. And Scarlett is working on a backup, but that wasn't a cancel, so a little bit of wasted resources there will further delay the answer to these BCs. Now, Scarlett did make all of these roaches, and she's going to make full use of them. She's going to go across the map and try to reciprocate the damage as much as possible.
Yeah, but you know what? We have Yamato now completed. We have the BC rocking up. It looks like we're racing back home, and Bunny will eventually clean this up. But how much damage can we get done? So far, 6 SCV kills. That's an okay start. We're getting more SCVs.
Yeah, if Scarlett can wipe out a middle line, then things are going to even up quite a bit. Scarlett taking a worker lead, a pretty decent worker lead.
Yeah. This is actually very nice. 16 SCVs go down. This should not have happened, by the way. The wall was open at the natural base. And suddenly Scarlett, despite losing a bunch of workers earlier, takes that worker lead, settles into all these queens. Spire is now finishing. Scarlett makes it out of this, and Scarlett is in not a bad place.
I cannot believe that I thought for a second that Scarlett was gonna reciprocate. I can't believe that I thought it was that these BCs were gonna end things. I was a fool. I still am a fool, but I was as well in the past for even worrying about that. Oh. We're gonna have our back and forth.
We are. Meanwhile, the Yamato's going to be going off. We do manage to catch 2 queens. We have 2 Yamatos left. More queens going to be going down. Ooh, and these 4 BCs are snowballing out of control. We are not out of the woods yet. We have 7 Corruptors on the way. They're coming out just in time. Can we hold on?
Yeah, but they're coming out isolated. Bunny able to pick off one. Well, not quite one, but yeah, able to get it very, very low. We do not have enough Corruptors to really chase this back. Not yet. Scarlett still needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, as more Corruptors are amassing, we got 4 drone kills in the main. But with the arrival of these next Corruptors, with the transfuse and the Queens to support, Bunny has to retreat. Bunny has to back off. It looks like we're going to be bleeding out one of these BCs. At least one. Oh, we get 2!
Yeah, he doesn't have... Yeah, we do get 2. He doesn't have teleport. He has to take the long way home, and that's exactly what these Corruptors want. These Corruptors can absolutely chase him down and pick him off one by one. We should be able to get the 4th BC as well, like so. And I'm surprised, not only that all 4 BCs are going down, but also that Bunny's playing Bio.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, you know, we saw the 2 racks set up, now 5 racks set up, and what's good about this for Bunny is that Scarlett is stuck on Roach Tech. Roach Tech can be okay, but doesn't scale amazingly into a longer game, so I'm curious to see how this will pan out. Scarlett does have the supply lead, but again, the supply is a bit inflated by those Roaches. We'll see what Scarlett can get done.
Yeah, I mean, not just those Roaches, right? Those Corruptors that we made earlier, they're not going to be very useful in an army engagement. They can try to snipe key tech here if she's able to sneak them around the dead air and get them into the main base of Bunny, but for the most part, not going to be too useful in the fight.
Definitely, as we have a siege line behind this Bio, we can see the Corruptors trying to find some damage done, sneaking their way into the main, and Scarlett has now confirmed that it is not going to be mech, that it is going to be a Bio-based army, and immediately Bathing Nest. Bathing Nest is so crucial here to go and transition it out of just pure Roach Ravager into Ling Bane.
Indeed, she is still getting ranged upgrades. So eventually, I imagine we're going to be seeing Hydras. We're slowly but surely getting into Hydra Link Bane, similar to game number 1, but Scarlett needs a lot more time to get there.
Yes, Corruptors bust into the main base. They force a lift on the main CC. Very nicely done here with these Corruptors. At the same time, Ravagers, they poke in. Not able to get too much done, though, as Bunny is going for some drop play. Corruptors not quite in position to deny this, and we are headed across the map. At the same time, Scarlett looking for a way in with the Roach Ravager.
Oh, not a wall in wall. The wall is not going to be a wall even if these supply depots lift up.
Very nice engage there from Scarlett, pushing into that natural base, but we have a lot of bio in position. We're going to be able to shut this down. We're going to force around.
Yeah, that drop from earlier did come back home, and as you said, we get a full surround. We completely wipe out the Roach Force of Scarlett, and this is giving Bunny a massive window of opportunity to counterattack.
Yeah, we spoke about it, how Roach Ravager just doesn't necessarily trade amazingly against a bio-heavy army like this. Bunny is pushing right through the center. Now Scarlett is remaxing with another wave of Roach Ravager. Bunny has to be careful not to pull too far in, but he's pulling the boys. Oh my god!
Bunny's had enough. He's all in. He's all in. He knows he can win. And he just wants to end things sooner rather than later.
Yeah, stepping on forward while some of them are going to be connecting. We're breaking through that initial line. SCVs are going to be going down. 16 SCVs do fall, and we're running out of bio.
We're running out of bio. The tanks were way too late to siege up. And because of that, Scarlett was able to get a concave going and is able to completely wipe this out. Look at that army supply difference.
Yeah.
Even with the Corruptors not being too useful, even with the inflation of the Roaches, that is still way too much. GG is called. Scarlett is going to be our first player to qualify and advance to that knockout stage from Bracket D.
GG.
My heart goes out to Bunny. Things were going so well until they weren't.
GG, well played. I mean, it came down to that Roach counterattack, right? 16 SCV kills. That was an insane amount of damage dealt there by Scarlett, and that was enough to make sure that the initial BC opener and aggression didn't do enough. It did not do enough damage in the end, which is crazy to say, but yeah, Scarlett was able to minimize her losses, maintain a high queen count, get into Corruptors eventually, and even deal with the push or the bio army of Bunny. Bunny just doubled down with the all-in. Don't think he necessarily needed to go all-in, but went for the kill, and alas.
A little bit too much bloodlust after wiping out the Roach Force that was coming his way, and I don't blame him too much. He had so much momentum after that. I mean, you mentioned it, Roach Ravager doesn't scale well. Scarlett had no time, no chance to get into a Ling Bane army after that, so Bunny was well aware that that was probably the best time he had to push. He tried to push, and yeah, I feel like he should have probably gotten more damage done there, but something went wrong. Maybe it was the tanks were a little too late to siege up. Maybe it was Scarlett just getting a fantastic concave in around the shrubbery or something like that into a choke point. But regardless of what it was, yeah, Scarlett was just able to completely snowball and take that series. GG, very nicely done. I feel like that series that we just saw, Bunny versus Scarlett, was probably what I imagine when I think of TVZ. Not in terms of, you know, the army compositions or the fights or the builds or whatnot, but in terms of the dynamic. Terran player comes in with a plan, is playing active. Zerg player reacts to that and tries to counter and tries to very quickly come up with a counter.
Yeah, that's what everyone loves about ZvT, right? The kind of ebb and flow of the Terran and Zerg dynamic in that matchup, and yeah, it was beautiful to see on full display. Congratulations to Scarlett as she makes it into the knockout round, into the knockout bracket. Meanwhile, Bunny is knocked down to the lower bracket, where Bunny has a second chance to qualify. Is going to be going up against the winner of Nightmare and Cyan. Is going to be going up against a Protoss player, yet to determine which one.
Yeah, we could have that Nightmare Cyan rematch. Bunny Cyan rematch. Or we could have Bunny versus Nightmare, which would also be pretty interesting. Nightmare and Cyan. That's a little bit tougher. If this was a year ago, I would absolutely 100% say, oh yeah, Nightmare. He's the PvP sniper. He should be able to take that, but Cyan has been fighting back quite a lot. He has been improving a lot and has displayed a lot of really strong PvP himself.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we also know that Cyan is unfortunately a little bit under the weather today, so won't quite be able to, show 100%. So it's a little bit up in the air. I would give the slight edge to Nightmare.
Yeah, would give the slightest Nightmare as well. But they're currently mid-series, and we have yet to really flesh that out. Again, it looks like the Group C is underway as well. Bracket C is also underway. I believe Beyond mid-series against Lambo. They might be being held. Oh, no, the mid-series against Lambo. And I believe Harsum is still in there. DRG as well. There's plenty of high quality matches that are currently ongoing, but it would make sense for us to lie in wait to see if Nightmare or Cyan make it through and to follow Bunny.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes peeled as to what's going to be available to us here. It looks like, speaking of Bracket C, we do have some updates there. Byun did take down Su 2-1, and so he's currently up against Lambo in yet another team kill. Lambo already had to face Hearthstem, already took him down to the lower bracket. Now he has to face yet another teammate in Byun.
Yeah, the team kills are real for Shopify Rebellion, at least in that bracket. So, bit of a feels bad, man, but I'm sure it's going to be an amazing series nonetheless.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, do look forward to it.
Yeah. You know what? At the very least, we have confirmation. 2 Shopify Rebellion players. They're going to be advancing to the knockout stage, so
True.
It's good news for Shopify fans.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not too upset. I'm sure they're not too upset about that. As we are just gonna be going on a short break, here, and we're waiting for players to come out of game, players to kind of report scores. So we'll lie in wait, and again, we should be following Bunny into the lower bracket. It's gonna be our plan for now.
Yeah. Again, we'll see what's available, but that's where we are planning to go.
See you soon.
See you soon.